sometimes even hard to fathom why people we don't like us, instead of seeing it as a positive that someone we don't want a bar of won't be calling on us anytime soon. We even let that play with our head.
I don't wanna dress up for you and be a toy. I'm not that girl. No, I'm not that girl. Put your feelings aside. Give that wild shot a try. I'm not that girl.
Today's video is about dealing with rejection. A video request from Temi Salamoni. If you felt the bite of rejection or dealt with the backlash of rejecting another, then this video is for you. Now let me warn you before you nick off thinking this is going to get all syrupy. I'm candid, unfiltered, and known to hold nothing back. My videos are my perceptions and viewpoints. You are big enough to form your own. If you want videos that shoot truth bombs right between the eyes, get encourage your self-confidence to explode, and hit the subscribe button and the bell right now, so I know to keep making more videos on relatable real-life topics. New uploads every Tuesday. Be sure to keep watching all the way to the end for a sneak peek of what's coming next. And I may even answer a question or two of yours. Drop me a comment and let me know how you have dealt with rejection. A topic you'd like me to cover, or even a question you'd like answered from my perception. Now hang on tight and let's smash this not feeling good enough crap into oblivion. It's human nature to want to feel wanted, to feel valued and accepted. Whether it be in relationships, socially, our place of employment, or outside interests, we all want that embrace of connection. Feel appreciated, respected, equal to others. When we feel cast aside, rejected, we feel the waves of self-doubt, emotion washing over us. We can sometimes spend hours staring out into a sea of thoughts, wondering why we are not enough. What the fuck we have done to deserve the snub. But in order to move on and grow, minimize the psychological damage, and understand that while some rejections are personal, not all are. The snub can see our self-confidence plummet so much we second-guess ourselves, our relationships, who we are as a person, our worth. In fact, when we get into that state of mind, we are only rubbing more salt into the wound. We become disgusted in ourselves, ashamed. We seldom look to the bigger picture. We seldom become in tune with the fact that yes, of course, absolutely, some people reject us because of who we are. But in actuality, some people reject us because of who they are too. Perhaps there is something in them that is triggered by something in us. Perhaps we highlight things they feel are amiss in themselves. Perhaps something about us triggers something from their past that triggers pain. Perhaps it's not even about them disliking us. We may just not be their kind of person. Perhaps they just don't vibe with our persona. Perhaps our confidence makes them feel intimidated. Perhaps our successes highlight their failures. Perhaps they are going through their own emotional warfare and they're just not capable of being available also to ours right now. Automatically we make assumptions that we are the problem without realizing that not everything is about us. Just maybe that's the problem too. Perhaps maybe some of us do make everything about us. Perhaps maybe they've genuinely had enough. I know I personally have gradually severed ties with these kinds of people. They are just too high maintenance. My point is, there could be a multitude of reasons people turn away from us. Pick someone else. Are more interested or connected to someone else. I've been rejected many times. I've rejected others too. Sometimes due to them, other times due to me. Just not being in a place that I could deal with that person at that time. I've had people literally turn vile towards me for going out with other friends. A last minute dinner and drinks on a night these people were otherwise occupied. In this situation, who is right and who is wrong? Do we have the right to expect our friends to refrain from socializing without first informing or including us, even when they are off enjoying themselves somewhere else. I think not. We should be mature and secure enough to see that it is not a slur on us if our friends choose to go out occasionally separate from us. Perhaps the fact they are out having fun triggered a desire to also find some fun. If we are not adult enough to openly say to our friends we wish they'd have gone out a night, we could have also tagged along. If we think anger, slander and rage is an acceptable way to react, if we think it's okay to victimize ourselves over our friends having some semblance of a life beyond us, I do believe that then is on us. And if this is then how we behave, rather than giving our friends the courtesy to explain themselves, give them the benefit of the doubt, then perhaps we ourselves should pull our entitled heads in. There are much healthier and more grown-up ways to deal with that feeling of rejection than to turn ice cold, sever friendships, or become a bitter, vindictive rival. Throw a tanty like a complete fuck-knuckle. Expect others to feel accountable because we got our knickers in a twist. We all have the right to feel hurt. We all have the right to feel offended. But we are all accountable for how we deal with those feelings. I know if I've personally unconsciously hurt or rejected someone, if they come to me calmly and explain how I've made them feel, more times than not, I would go out of my way to amend the situation and reassure them that hurting them was not my intention. Of course, I've severed ties with people not right for me, but never gone out of my way to alienate, disinclude anyone. If I hurt them and they kindly explain, shame on me. But if someone sulks, turns accusatory or ugly over me innocently enjoying life with other connections, then that's completely shame on them. We're all adults, and adults for the most part should know how to keep those emotions in check. No one owes you, me, or anyone else fuck all. Everyone has a right to make their own decisions whom they surround themselves with. Yes, sometimes our feelings may be very valid, but no one but us is responsible for them. Of course, if someone point blank rejects us to our face, deliberately shuns us or makes us feel small, we have every right to be miffed. But the way we learn and grow is dependent on our capability to understand that rejection is life. I've been rejected by people, I've shed tears, wondered what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough. But more times than not, those people exiting my life did me the greatest favor ever. The not so good for me made space for those completely good for me. The wrong people removing themselves from my life have made room for those that have bettered my life, not worsened it. Same goes with things I've wanted in life or to succeed in life. I've missed out on them only to be delivered better. The universe truly does work in mysterious ways and knows what we need even when we don't. We spend way too much time making waves instead of enjoying the view. Opening our eyes to the possibilities that everything happens for a reason. According to scientists, that same area of our brain is activated when rejection finds us, as that physical pain activates. So therefore, even the slightest of rejection makes us feel pain. Perhaps that is why when another hurts us, we say we feel like we've been kicked in the guts, because all that letdown, disappointment and blemish to our ego stirs hurt. We go through waves of anger, mood swings. Basically, our self-esteem has been trampled on. And this then can send us into a rip of mind fuckery. Self-doubt consumes us to the point we become physically ill. Rejection, whether it be overlooked to being picked for a team, a love interest, or missing out on that dream job, or being shunned by those we socially affiliate is bloody hard to accept. But beating ourselves up rather than understanding we can't change what's done. Instead of putting all our eggs into one basket of assumptions and understanding there could be many reasons, we can either reflect and grow if we feel like we missed out due to not being suited, or perhaps we didn't quite meet the mark of what was required for the job. But rather acknowledging we may just have to work harder, prepare ourselves to conquer. As far as love interests go, perhaps we are just not right for them, but this does not mean we are not right for another. Sometimes we need to set focus back on the positives and realize not everyone will be right for us, nor we them. There will always be people that won't like us, just as there will always be people we dislike. Sometimes someone just rubs us the wrong way. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person, but merely a bad fit for us. Same applies with us for some. If everyone was attracted to the same, whether it be romantically, socially, or mentally, can you imagine how many poor bastards wouldn't get a look in? We would almost all be living dissatisfied because we are all unique and there is not enough of us to go around. And with our uniqueness comes our differential tastes and desires. Ask yourself, have you chosen a specific type of date in the past? I'm sure the ones you overlooked were not overlooked because of anything you had against them. You were just drawn to someone else more. Just like undoubtedly someone will be more drawn to them than another. We need to stop seeing rejection as a negative and realizing all the benefits it can entail too. It can be a learning curve. Sometimes people do need time to recover from the pain of rejection. When rejection hurts you so badly you feel you cannot cope. It may be wise, if you can't get the support you need within your circle, to seek professional support. Pain is not something anyone should endure. Sometimes rejection can be genuinely due to something we have done. We need to straighten up our act. Sometimes we all stop up and others get sick and tired of tolerating our shit. Ostracism, regardless, is not a feeling any of us likes. But unless it's something you know needs to be rectified in your own behavior or in bettering yourself for where you'd like to see yourself physically or academically, giving yourself a hard time will only lead to more suffering. We all have that fundamental need for belonging. When we are on the receiving end of ostracism, it can incite inferiority, jealousy, and overall sadness. It's sometimes even hard to fathom why people we don't like us, instead of seeing it as a positive that someone we don't want a bar of won't be calling on us anytime soon. We even let that play with our head. If someone we care about fails to support our social media posts, yet we see them supporting others, this can stir feelings of hurt, frustration, or anger. Rejection will always feel like a punch to the face, but we can learn to dodge the blows. The way we choose to respond to rejection will determine the overall outcome. By talking about it in a mature, reasonable way, we release it to the wind. We can then move on with dignity and grace. Rejection can be a sign that you're living large, wild, and free. If you've never been rejected, are you really living life to the max, being all you can be? You're pushing limits and making waves are just too much for some. Be kind to yourself and know that if others reject you, it's perfectly okay. They're just not your fucking people.
Wish that I was brave, but I've never been the one.
I think it would be amazing if you started doing videos where you answer viewer questions and give them feedback and advice. A question I have is, what would you suggest doing about a friend who consistently copies my outfits and styles to the point where they've seen what I'm wearing and have gone home to change into something similar? It's annoying. First of all, that's gotta ruffle your feathers. Imitation is often seen as flattery, but as you said, yes, it's bloody annoying and can also seem like theft of our own individuality. This girl obviously admires you, your style, and perhaps maybe feels like that if she imitates you, mirrors what you're wearing, copies what you're wearing, that she's somehow going to win the same life prizes. She's also potentially a little bit insecure and needs a confidence boost. I definitely recommend not telling her what you're wearing prior to the event, but if she's going home and changing after she's seen what you're wearing, then that's a whole new level of what the fuck. If it were me, I won't lie, it would potentially irk the shit out of me, but then I'd probably try to see it as a compliment. I'd look to the advantage of her leaving to change because everyone's already seen you arriving first. Everyone will also be witness to her departure and re-arrival dressed as your clone. This then just adds credence to your fabulousness. Sure, most people that copy us aren't doing it out of cunning or malice, they just somehow want to feel better about themselves. If it truly bothers you, perhaps develop a style that's less easy for her to imitate. Steer her towards her own style direction, compliment her when she wears something different, or just be really blunt and outright. Only you know what feels right. For me, I'd tell you to straighten your fucking crown, hold your head high, and revel in being worthy of imitation. I'm Sharon Leanna. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Drop me a comment so I know you're here, and be sure to hit the like button for me too. If If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe as it really helps my channel grow. I appreciate the support. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss my next one. Living with anxiety demons. And while you're here, check out my other videos. Until next time, love, peace, and light to you.
Break out of your shell, meet me halfway.